All right, guys, it looks like I did it. I did it again. We're live. So thank you for joining us. I want to start first by welcoming and thanking Jason for joining us. And I'm excited to kind of host this talk because this is different, right? And we're going to go over some of that, like how this is different. And a lot of you probably don't know as much about the CDT. I know I'm less familiar, so let's kind of start with some CDT background. The Continental Divide Trail is the least known and least explored of the three long distance trails that are part of the coveted Triple Crown. So only approximate 150 ambitious travelers attempt to complete an end-to-end trek each year, with a near 50 people completing the trail end-to-end. So to give you some perspective on this, we're comparing it to other long trails that you're familiar with. The AT has over 3,000 attempts per year with 700 completions, and the surging PCT has over 5,000 attempts with over 1,000 completions. So that number has not always been above the AT. Only in the past 2 years or so has that surpassed the AT. The CDT is considered to be the highest, most challenging, and most remote of our national scenic trails, ranging from 4,000 to 14,000 feet in elevation as it goes over Gray's Peak at 14,270 feet, the only of the three to top 14,000 there as part of the official trail. Much like the PCT, it sees an array of landscape from desert to high alpine, just about everything in between. Like the AT, it boasts much historical significance to the pathway. CDT travels through areas of Native American significance and pathways that follow Lewis and Clark's trip as well. The CDT is roughly 3,000 miles long and passes through Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico, highlighted by passage through Rocky Mountain, Yellowstone, and Glacier National Parks. Incredibly unique is the CDT's Choose Your Own Adventure model, which I think is super cool, and we'll talk to Jason about that a bit, where there are several splits where you can choose between river or mountain pass, for example, and you have 50 plus mile detours while still being on an official route. So totally different from a lot of long distance trails that we're more familiar with. It's pretty amazing. So you're not here to talk to me though. So that was my mouthful. We're here to listen to the man currently on the mission. I think it's, I couldn't thank you enough. Jason Voss, thank you for joining us literally on the CDT right now. How are you?
Pretty good. It's great to be in town and nice to talk to people from back home again.
So. You have someone to talk to. And so we just went through some of the numbers and the remoteness. How is it out there? How's the company? Days spent alone, days spent with, you have company today?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few hikers out here. There's a few over here hanging out. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
So this year has actually been quite more popular than any other year. I'd say it's more comparable to like a PCT year or something like that. There's so many hikers out here, which is great for me. It's not so lonely. It's easier to go along. You meet more people, which is half the reason you do most of these long distance trails, is meeting people, seeing views, and just the experience of a lifetime.
That's cool. So you're getting a social aspect to it that the CDT is not typically known for. Like this would be one of the first years that you really get some of that camaraderie that really does make the experience for sure.
Yeah, and everyone always bubbles up because there's only a window of time where you can do it, and everyone walks the same speed, and you stay in towns and you start talking to people, and then you go out and hike together or something like that. So it's pretty amazing on just like meeting people, and the whole social aspect of it is amazing.
Very cool. So catch us up, like where are you right now, both like physically, but also like relative to the trip? About how many miles are you in, or what's the status update on your trip?
I'm about 1,800 miles in, and so I just went through the Great Basin area, and that's a relatively flat section. So I was pushing miles through there because there's no tree coverage and you're just in the sun the whole time. So you stop, sit in the sun, or walk. So I just kept walking. And I think the biggest day I did was a 40-mile day, and I did 2 of those and a couple 30s, and then I was out of there. But that
Wow.
that ruined my body, to be honest. My hip started hurting, and I just been hobbling along, and it's not really that bad. It's just overused. Need to take a couple days off or something.
Right.
So
Have you
I'll stay.
taken 0 days, or how many zero? Do you know how many 0 days you've
Uh,
taken?
I think about 8 so far, which
Okay,
is not
that's
very many. A lot of
no. I was gonna
Nero,
say.
more Neros. So I'll set myself up to get into town for like 10 to 15 miles or so, maybe less than that even, and then go into town, stay there all day basically, get food as many times as I can, and resupply and charge up my batteries, and then go back out, and then
Some
keep doing that.
incredible mileage thus far. I mean, you're talking about Neros and zeros and familiar. So if you're listening in, a Nero near 0 miles that day versus a zero is just 0 miles that day. So just a day
Yeah.
off. And coming from an Appalachian Trail background, I'm familiar with that. But I'm familiar with the Neros that meant like 3 or 4 miles. It was like, oh, I just wanted to stay out of town to stay cheap.
Yeah.
I did go,
Yeah.
3 miles in and out or whatever. You're talking about your Neros are still my average miles on the AT or whatever. Like you're
Well,
crushing miles, a 40
yeah.
mile totals and 1800 total. Congrats. That's killer.
You wake up like I woke up today and got going. I was on trail by 6:30, and then till 10. Uh, it's not too hard, terribly hard to do 10 miles. So, so that's not too bad. Then you can still get breakfast, and then it's like, oh, it's a zero for me. But
Right?
uh, it is a little more extreme, I guess. But out here, it's different than AT. I still think the AT is probably the hardest walking of all the trails. This one definitely puts it to a challenge. I went through the San Juans. Pretty sure I was the first group to get through, and it was just post Hole City. It was it was kind of a nightmare, and I don't blame anyone. I kind of like told everyone it's a good job to take the Creed cutoff, which it cuts off about 100 miles of the San Juans,
Okay.
so it makes it possible for high snow years. Like there were sections which people could easily get into danger. Like I was experienced with a lot of snow from the PCT, and I enjoy the snow, so I went for it, and it worked out. But it was definitely the hardest hiking I've ever done. It
So
was,
that's one of those choose your own adventures that
yeah,
I've
yep, that
heard
was
about.
part of that. And then the first one was either the Gila River or taking the Continental. It took you over your first real mountains ish area, or you could go into this amazing canyon with the like this amazing river that you cross 150 times in 3 days, and it was beautiful. Like just clear water, beautiful rocks, like crazy little pebbles that have so much colors to them. And then there was like the cliff dwellings in there too, so you could
Oh,
see like
sweet.
Native American cliff dwellings. um, so yeah, that was an
Huh.
obvious choice of not having water for the first month. Like, oh, you could walk by water. So that was the first little choose your adventure
Right. You go
section.
without for so long. That
Mhm.
seems like a no
Yeah,
brainer. And especially we were talking
yeah.
earlier, if you like to dip your feet in or go for a little swim, 100
Hmm.
miles along a river sounds like a dream, right?
Yeah, it was a dream. There was hot springs there too, so that was really nice. So there was natural hot springs where you could sit in and enjoy. And then there was a campground that $10 and had a little bit of man altered hot springs, which was even nicer.
Yeah, some
So
of
that
those they kind of like, what do they feed the water into, like an old bathtub or something? One of those deals.
yeah, they made real fancy like rock ponds kind of deal, and then linked a bunch of hot springs up and then pumped it into there. Well, fed it
Yeah.
down from the mountains into there. So that
I
was pretty
mean,
cool.
you're selling this trail pretty hard. This isn't going to be the third
Yeah.
most traveled for long, right? Or you're saying maybe it's already not.
It's starting to, but it definitely needs more people to start coming out here and hiking and proving to all these towns that it's worth to put more money in to letting these trails go into like maybe farmers letting us go through some sections that might have water or get us off highways here and there, because there is a lot of highway walking and a lot of like gravel and dirt road walking. And then there's some sections it's just like there is no path. There's just cairns. I'm following rocks.
Right.
Hopefully
I
no
got some
one's
questions
messing with
about that. Yeah.
me. Yeah.
um, so let's get to it now. A lot of the CDT's reputations for this like raw and wild nature, like being less refined. And so like New Mexico, for example, was supposed to be a lot of that, right? Like, did you have issues?
Mhm.
You've gone through New Mexico
Yeah.
and all of Colorado. Do you have issues wayfinding and with trail markings or lack thereof? Like you said, there's not a path all the time. Um, how
Sorry,
does
I
it
got a
work?
scam call.
Oh, totally good. Thanks for ignoring it or not answering.
Uh, yeah, it like broke in and I couldn't hear anything. And scam likely. I got
Yeah.
service now, so I'm getting scam
No,
calls.
I'm sorry. I'll let you turn off your data soon or whatever. But
No, no,
uh,
I'm good now.
so
But
the question was, you've gone through New Mexico and Colorado, and with the CDT's nature and being less marked and certain parts of a different kind of choose your own adventure, right? Like you got to figure it out. Have you had issues with wayfindings or trail markings or just choosing that path?
yeah, so in New Mexico, there's a lot of cows. So you'd be walking, and then like you're following a trail, and then you realize this is not the trail. This is just a cow path. And so you turn around and go back, and the cow path is 100 times better than the trail. So you're like, oh, obviously I followed that. I'm used to hiking these other trails that are well used. So you start doing that, and then you realize you can't do that. You just gotta realize, look at your map, and be like, I'm just following this ridge line. So you follow that ridge line, and there are like stakes and stuff like that so far here and there, but it was fairly marked, but not the best. But and then and choose your own path is you have multiple different ones you can do. It depends on your like GPS how you want to do it. So they're trying to set like an actual continental divide. So they have that actual set, but there are sections that are much better than other sections in various ways. Some might be easier walking, some might be just so much more beautiful. Like in New Mexico, a lot of people would take this like off-road section to avoid some of the like desert no trail walking, which it wasn't bad. It kind of was enjoyable. You just zigzagged around the few desert plants around there,
Sure.
but it wasn't. It was nice.
Are you using maps? Is it like a gut hook thing or is it a
Yeah.
CDT?
So gut hooks is the most common. It's been the worst on this for this trail. They give you all the necessary information, but not all of it's right.
Need
The
some
trail's
updates.
not always on the right spot either.
Mhm.
It just changes a little bit here and there, and I guess they don't put as much fundings into this because not as many people used it.
Right.
So
Right.
I guess
Makes
that's the
sense.
reason. But there's other apps that help like Lazy Maps and other things. But I just use gut hooks, and it gives you enough information. And then
You're 1,800 miles in. You didn't get too lost, right? You're,
yeah,
you're
yeah, I've
still on trail.
gotten. I think the longest section I've gone before I realized was like 2 miles. Then I realized I was off trail.
Oh, but that hurts, man.
Yeah,
That
then you
still
eat a
hurts.
candy bar or something. You're like, oh, it happens.
Right.
Let's go back. Hopefully, you
Right.
can find a way to shorten it back, like bushwhacking, because there's so much of it. You're like, well, I don't feel bad of it, no. So
Right. And and excuse me, I feel like I've been rude. Um, I'm, referring to you as Jason. Jason, do you have a trail name?
yeah, I've been going by Magic Hat on this one and the AT. So
Magic Hat?
yeah, like East Coast beer from
Yes.
Vermont.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was just talking about that beer. It's been a long
yeah,
time, but it's a
yeah,
very delicious beer.
yeah.
All
It
right,
is.
Magic Hat. Then I apologize. This is
No,
rude.
that's fine. It's just really a way to actually remember people, I think, in my
Right.
way, because I
It's
can't
memorable.
remember everyone's names. If you give like a crazy name with
Totally.
a story behind it, it's like, oh, I'm gonna remember you now.
Is it an easy
So
enough story? Is it beer related or is it different?
I was carrying. I think it was 500 miles into the AT. I was carrying out a case of Magic Hat #9 beer, and it was. I didn't have a name by then, so that was the best thing I heard. So I was like, okay, that works.
And how it works. It's a fun one. And who
Yeah,
carries
it
a
is.
case that like, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
You must
yeah.
be a
I was sharing
giving,
it. I was
yes,
definitely sharing. That was
sharing,
not for all me.
sharing, giving
It's
person.
like you drink 2 beers out here and you're drunk.
Exactly. Your metabolism is like on fire, right? Yep.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I'm gonna try to pull up some pictures here
Mhm.
as I do that. Like you've gone through 2+ states. Tell us about some highlights. I think you should be able to see the pictures along the way, or otherwise I can try to skip through. But like, what are some favorite moments? You know, I always also like to like phrase it like if somebody's heading out and wants to do a week or a long weekend, like what can they go see? What have been your favorites? Just walk us through some of that.
Like favorite section so far?
Yeah, totally.
Definitely the Wind River. The
Wind
Wind River
River,
section. Yeah, that was
and
just
that's you just went
amazing.
through some of that.
I just went through that. Like that was my last little section I walked through. Uh, I I was having troubles keeping my time because there were so many lakes I wanted to swim in. But that picture was for right before Peak
Okay,
on that.
good. You can see the
Yeah,
pictures, and we don't have any Wind
yeah,
Rivers unfortunately because you just got through it, and I've got some of
yeah.
your
I
older
haven't.
pictures, but
I'll be posting those here tonight, hopefully on Instagram and Facebook.
cool.
So,
What's your Instagram for people?
it's Voss Jason.
Awesome, easy enough.
Yeah, easy peasy. I wanted to make it easy. So, and then
So
yeah, but the last picture was the ridge walk up to Gray's Peak. I guess that was the second highest. Um, that was the highest in Colorado. This picture there. And that
does the CDT go over? It actually goes over Elbert, or is this a side
no,
trail?
that's a side trail. So
Okay,
that's
that's what I
choose
thought.
your own little path. It was 2 mile, no, 3 miles up and 3 miles back. So I figured I'd do it.
I mean, for that
Yeah,
view, yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
It
go for
was
you,
it was pretty nice.
overachiever, but it's yeah. Why not on that? Like when you know the skies look like that day, how do you
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the day after I came back from a 3-day break with my friends. They came out and picked me up and we went rock climbing in Boulder. We did some climbs down in El Dorado Canyon and the Iron Flats. So
Very cool.
it was a lot of fun.
You're living it up.
Yeah. Um and then this one so this was the day after I had to bail trying when I was going up in above tree lines. So I got up to the section, did about 5 miles above tree line, and then the storm rolled in, and I was like, bailing. And it was good timing because there was a Jeep off-road trail right next to me. So I just followed that down until I found some trees and put my tent up, waited, and I was like, oh, it's 2 o'clock, it might stop. And it just kept raining, and then it turned to snow, and then it was beautiful the next day. So
Smart man, though. You gotta
yeah,
know your know when
yeah,
to just call it.
yeah,
There's going to be other days, including tomorrow,
hmm,
right? Like
yeah,
ended up you got off the mountain. Hey, just wake up the next morning and you have like a better scene for having just waited.
hmm,
So
yeah, yeah. And that's why I typically always try and carry an extra meal of some sort at least. So because you never really know what kind of situation you're gonna get. You might get a rain day and it's just pouring. That's no fun to walk in. So it's easier to hide.
super
And
smart.
then yeah, this is right after uh, the Steamboat Springs, the last town in Colorado. So there was a forest fire. I kind of just barely squeaked by. They closed it as while I was going through it. They closed the trail, which good reason. It was like 2 ridges over from the trail. Luckily, there was not much wind when I was going because I could see the smoke, and then I noticed I was going away from it a little bit. So there was multiple like, okay, this thing isn't as dangerous yet as I should think. so I kept going, but it probably wasn't the smartest ideas because
But no
wildfires are
smoke or
pretty.
ash like
No,
on like
no
while you
ash
were
on me,
hiking.
but a lot of smoke. It's like a light fog, basically.
It's crazy to see. Did you see like at night? Were you able to see? Were you on any ridges where you could see like the orange or reddish, like amber glow in the over the next
So
ridge?
I made sure that I wouldn't get in that situation really. So I did a 36-mile day on that one to get around
Okay.
it. And I did go off trail because there was a Forest Service road after you got past it, and you could go and look into the valley that it was in. So I walked up that a little bit and I watched it for a little bit. And I think that is where the picture's from.
Cool.
So
I mean,
um,
that's one of those new. I mean, not new. I mean, obviously, there's been fires for forever,
mhm.
but CDT and PCT hikers. We got some guys on the PCT right now that just ever growing challenges. I guess not new, but ever growing challenges with
Yeah,
bigger or longer seasons with the forest fires. So um,
yeah, I got another one at the border of Montana that I might have to skip around. Well, I probably definitely have to skip around. I think it might be like a 100-mile section. I don't know if I'll be able to walk it, or I don't know if I'll take the highway. Road walking is very painful and draw. I don't like
I
it.
guess depending on where it's through, I mean, whether or not they close it or are able to close it, or if it's just up to you to say, I'm gonna find my own way.
Yeah, so you can find your own way. There's a lot of Forest Service roads you can take, and you can hike the highways too, which a lot of people do to get that continuous footpath. But with forest fires, if I can't walk if I can't get past that highway walk in a day, maybe two, I don't really want to do it. It just
No,
hurts too much.
no,
So
that road walking is the worst.
yeah, so
For sure.
it is what it is at that point. But maybe I'll come
Right.
back and get another vacation and do that section later.
Great. Yeah. No, then well,
Mhm. Yeah. Um,
we got some talking about we're talking about like a lot of pros and a lot of cons throughout the trip. Here's an issue. uh,
yeah, forest fires. West Coast trails are bad with those.
well, and I'm looking at some banged up feet now.
Oh, yeah, that always happens, I guess.
Yeah, it just goes along with 1,800 miles, and especially was this desert too. I can imagine just like
um,
I don't know
no,
heat,
I think that
sand.
was. I'm still seeing the old picture, but
Oh, shoot,
I'm
my bad.
figuring that's from those blisters were probably from the snow.
Oh
So my
yeah.
shoes fell apart, and where my blister formed was where my shoe was not anymore.
Oh gosh,
So
man, if you need a
I
new pair, just call, man. We can work this
well,
out.
I was in the middle of nowhere, like
I
in
know.
between like the seven thing. Then I did buy a new pair of shoes, which they were actually like they were different brands, so it was nice trying them. But they seem to
Everyone's
fall apart just as quick.
everyone's
They're I
curious. What do you like on the trail? Everyone likes to know what footwear people
so
are wearing.
I've been using the ultras. Um, I'm not I'm not super happy. Like they're really nice, they're comfortable. They fall apart fairly easy, and I
Yeah.
don't think they have enough stability really.
Do
But
you know what model
they
you've
are
got?
super. My feet don't hurt, so I don't know.
400
It
miles at a time, maybe.
uh, I think I got a pair that lasted 500 on this trail, and then the snow ate my other pair in like two or three, and then these have gotten about three or maybe even close to 400 on them now.
Yeah.
So they're they're
It's
doing they're doing pretty good.
it's a popular way to go with those guys.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um there's they're definitely nice shoes. I really do like them. I think they need to be a little bit different for my foot.
sure.
But I don't know what else to use because my foot's real wide. It's just their heel is a little too loose, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we can talk later about that.
Yeah.
Uh, we won't take everyone's time on that,
Yeah.
but we can help you
Yeah.
find
But
some shoes.
yeah, shoes are your own choice. You gotta just find something that you like.
Works for you. Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I just kind of flipped. I don't know if it's keeping up. I think there's a lag, but we're looking at like a snowy pass that you're kind of walking through here too. I mean, it just kind of shows the diversity of the terrain that you've gone through and what you have to prepare for. You're heading out on the CDT, and it's like, what gear do I take? Desert and 14,000 foot snowy pass. Like,
Yeah.
holy cow!
So that was probably in the San Juans. So that was like where I got that blister from. So the picture you got was weeks after it was healed and didn't bother me anymore. It was just gross looking. uh, but yeah, the San Juans were extremely beautiful. Just don't do them that early. Wait
Right?
until
Yeah.
that snow melts
So
because
you started
it was pretty brutal.
mid-April, is that right?
I started April 15th. I think I was going into the San Juans end of May,
Okay.
which was probably like 2-3 weeks too early at least.
So is it more typical for someone to start going northbound? This is you're going to start like early May. Is that more typical?
No, because it's so hot down there.
You
It's like
can't
you're
win.
screwed. Yeah, you to be able to do the San Juan safely and comfortably and enjoyable, you have to start from Canada.
Yeah.
You gotta go the other way. so
You're damned
so
if you
that
do,
that's
damned if you don't. Like you just,
yeah.
yeah, you stuck.
Yeah, so you're gonna fry in the desert if you start late, or if you start early, you're gonna be stuck in the snow, or you have to go real slow.
All
So
right. I think we circled back through. We're back to the smoke. I think this is the same smoke picture or a different day and night of the smoke. I think it's a little
there
elevated.
you go. Yeah. So I think one of those ones that pictures I sent you was my phone takes like one snaps or whatever, and it takes a bunch of different photos and shades and stuff. So yeah, okay. All right, that makes sense. And
Uh,
it's still stuck. Well, I never saw the other one, but I saw that. I saw it change colors.
it's beautiful scenery though, man.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. And
um
gonna get to Yellowstone. Hopefully, I'll see some wolves and buffalo and geysers and all kinds of stuff.
yeah. um envious everyone. I'm sure everyone listening is that yeah, envious. It makes it that's what inspires and has us plan new trips, is seeing and being inspired, and then part of it is just believing too that you can
Yeah,
get out there and you could do it, and you're doing it now, and so kudos to
yeah.
you to
And you can definitely make it extremely cheap. You can live really comfortably $1,000 a month, like, and it's not too bad. So it's $6,000 a trip
Mhm.
for 6 months of amazingness. I
Yep.
think that's the cheapest, longest vacation I can think of.
Right, I
If you
think
can
we're going to
think of
see.
one better, let me know.
Right, yeah, I mean, I definitely know you can spend 6 grand in a week on vacations easy. You want to
Hmm.
you want to go to
Yeah.
Hawaii or something like that, like boom,
Yep.
and you're doing it. You've got 6 months, and you're seeing way more, meeting way more people, and
Yeah.
trust me, I'm on board. That's the way to do
Yeah.
it.
You
One
can
of the other cool.
really you can really like understand the cultures of the states and stuff like that. You can see the difference and just like walking through it. It's so nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an educational thing for you too, right? Like whether
Hmm.
it's historical, cultural, just a
Yeah.
deeper understanding of people, because you have deeper relationships, whether it's
Hmm.
with hikers or even just short-term relationships with people
Yeah.
in town. You're able to kind of reach a different level on
Yeah.
on on a trip like this. Everyone's open and honest, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. And you've experienced this um, multiple times. So you've kind of alluded to this a few different times. So tell us about your hiking background and what made you pick the CDT.
So I've hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2014. I got laid off from my work, and I was tired of working and wanted a break, and I had the money to do it. And I think I only spent like 3,000 on that one, thanks to dollar stores. Like, you got everything you need.
Yes.
But yeah, so that one was super cheap, and that got me going. Then 3 years later, Actually almost 3 years later, I got in a motorcycle accident and was in the hospital for about a month and decided I wanted to do another adventure when I was trying to recover. And 6 months later after that, I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, and that was amazing. So then after that, I realized I had to just go ahead and finish the Triple Crown and started planning on this for another 3 years. And then Corona hit, so it turned to 4 years. So, and I'm here now.
That's amazing, dude. I mean, so you only meet so many CDT hikers. Well, you also, I mean, you're not going to meet many Triple Crowners either, and you're well on your way there. And congratulations for that too. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is a blast.
Well, we can have a whole separate conversation, and I'd love to if you were up for it on another day on just talking about the Triple Crown and talking about the three big trails and the differences in your experiences on those, because that's pretty unreal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hit you up for that. And there's something else you're doing too for this trip, is that you've chosen not to do this trip for yourself, but you're also raising money and awareness for Adventure Crew. If you could tell us about that partnership.
Yeah, so Adventure Crew is this amazing organization that takes underprivileged kids or just inner city kids and everybody out onto adventures like kayaking, snowboarding, skiing, hiking, rock climbing, all kinds of stuff, and just teaches them that there's more than city life to be doing. And it's just in the Cincinnati area, the tri-state, I believe, so far. And I've been raising money, and I have a link in my Instagram account to their web page to donate, or you could even volunteer. They're always looking for people to help guide kids down rivers, and it's a lot of fun. I've done it a few times, and I'm looking forward to helping them out when I get back here and there. And it's a real easy way they set it up. So you just sign up, and they email you when they're doing these things, and they're about once a month or twice a month or something like that, and you can decide to go or not. So it's very not pushy on you. You just sign up, and if it's something you're interested in, you can join with them.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just guys, I just put the adventurecrew.org link straight into, if you're watching, it's in the comments, should be in the comments there. And then I'm going to go ahead and see, I'll try to add the link to Jason's fundraiser for them as well. Adventure Crew is so very cool. You summed it up great, and everything they do, their mission. They do amazing work and really, help make a equitable place for everyone to get outdoors more often. You can help in so many ways too. You can donate money. If you're not able to donate money, you can donate gear. RT accepts used gear to donate to the club. There's just a whole lot you could do, and volunteer, like Jason said, to get involved. And it's just all such good work. I'm going to put both of those links in there, and have been working for a while. They also have one of their larger fundraising events coming up, which is Paddle Fest. So get out there, and they have an awesome expo beforehand, or you can get out there and paddle as well. So just multiple great opportunities to both get outdoors and celebrate the Adventure Crew. Jason, thanks for working with them. Super cool.
Yeah. It was a blast.
You realize like you're doing, I think it's cool because you're doing something big for yourself, and to kind of take on an additional thing and spread that message is super honorable. So good on you.
And it helps giving more encouragement to finish too, I guess.
Right? People are watching. You've got to.
Yeah, I got to do this now.
Yeah, I know. It should have been set up like a per mile donation or something. I remember doing like walkathons in high school, and you went around and you got the donations per mile that you did or something like.
Yeah. I was trying to tell people a penny a mile, and that's less $30.
So. There you go. And then it adds up.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool story, man, and everything that you've done. I'd love if we could do a follow-up, whether it's on trail or post trail, online, Zoom, or in store. I'd love to have you and continue this conversation. I don't want to take up your entire evening. You've got to get your rest. party with everybody. There's a live band later, I heard.
Yeah, yeah, totally. They're already starting to clear up. I think that might be some of them.
You're at a cool stopover, man. It makes me miss the trail life and everything. It's
Yeah,
super
that's
cool.
another really great thing is you get to go into these towns and see little things like a lot of these have been like little historical towns. Like in Colorado, you had Creed, which is an old mining place, and all kinds of other little ones. And so
Yeah, I was reading about some of that. Like, yeah, going through like mining towns and old mines and
mhm.
just such a diversity. Every day is a different adventure. I'm sure you kind of there's mundane days in any trail where it just kind of feels like you're walking again, and
Yeah,
then you
then
stumble upon the amazing, the unexpected.
yeah, yeah, that is 100% true. Like
Um,
I missed it, but one of this guy I was talking to, he found an ice cave he went into, like a glacier ice cave.
oh no
And he
way.
just climbed into it and he had a little video and it was like, what? That is amazing.
Where
And
was
that
that
was
at?
that was in the winds in the it was one of the alternate little sections. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh man, you're just laying on thick. Like I feel like it's a guilt trip now that I made you rush through the winds to make this
No,
interview.
no,
Now you
I
missed you
actually
missed
didn't
the ice
even go
cave.
on that section. I was like, my legs are too beat up from that. I'm just gonna go take the easier way, which was super beautiful too in the
Yeah,
actual trail. And it was much easier hiking on that,
yeah,
which is what I needed.
yeah.
So
You got
and
to
a lot
get your
more
mix.
ponds,
I got to
a lot
make
more
it back
lakes
there.
to swim in.
What's that?
A lot of lakes to swim in
Yes.
up there. It was
Yeah,
so
man.
beautiful.
And yes. And do that and take your breaks. I know you've got some big miles,
Yeah,
but soak it up, man. So we all
yeah,
wish we were out there with you. So swim in some lakes for us.
yeah, definitely will.
So
It's a blast. It's a good way to get clean too,
right, right.
because you sweat a lot out there.
Oh my goodness. What
Yeah.
you're out of the desert, but still you're pretty some hot temperatures out there. Is the elevation saving you at
Yeah,
all?
it was in the 90s. It felt like pretty much the whole time. It was drenched in sweat. That whole basin area, it was ridiculously hot. Like like I dunked my bandana in the water, then put it over my head and neck and such. In about a half hour, it's completely dry. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know
Keep
what will.
trucking, buddy. As soon as you make
But
us jealous, you make us not so jealous.
yeah, there's good things and there's bad things. So, but
I love
the
it.
sufferings makes the best stories. So
Yeah.
and just keep on going.
Heck yeah, man. Well, if I'm gonna cut it here, man. If you don't
All
mind
right,
sticking around, I'll chat with you after. But guys on
sounds good.
Facebook, everywhere else, thank you so much for joining in. Again, Jason, I can't thank you enough for joining us as well
My
and making
pleasure.
this experience, letting people know about the CDT experience and sharing the photos. And I'd love to do this again if you were cool with it. But
Mhm.
until next time, everyone, thanks for tuning into the Facebook Live with us and. Check out Jason's Instagram and Adventure Crew fundraiser and learn more about the CDT so you can plan your trip, guys. Appreciate you. Till next time. Peace out, guys.